Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the Fever Pitch Podcast. I'm your co-host Brian.
Dan, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. A lot has happened. You know that dance, the Cupid Shuffle,
To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right.
to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left.
Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick.
So it seems collectively a lot of players have decided to walk it by themselves. A lot
Oh,
have taken a step to the right, to the left, made some lateral moves, and some are kicking it all the way to different coasts.
all right. Where do we begin?
Let's talk about these QBs.
I haven't said it on this pod, but I've said it amongst my sports consumers family. Kirk Cousins had the greatest agent of all time.
Why do you say that?
There was never a season where this man doesn't get every single dollar. If he doesn't get every single dollar, he gets about 90%. Like I think almost every other contract is fully guaranteed.
Yeah. During Kirk Cousins' career, he had a 50 million signing bonus for this new contract.
Listen, man.
What?
Coming off coming off a torn Achilles
Wait, he's 35 getting a 15 million, no, 50 million signing bonus.
after tearing his Achilles.
So 50 million signing bonus with 90 million guaranteed. So does that mean but the total guaranteed is 100 million?
So essentially, let me see if I can help you break this down. Um, for those of you who don't know, Kirk Cousins signed the deal with the Falcons. 4 year, 180. 90 million is guaranteed that signing. You get a $50 million signing bonus on top, and 100 million in total guarantees. In the year one of this contract, he's taking $62.5 million. Year one. Year two of this contract, he's making $27.5 million. And then year three, he's making 45 even. So and he'll be 38 by 2026. Mike McCartney, I don't know who you are, but I hope he thanks you every day. Because you'll be doing something in these meeting rooms that not many people are doing. I don't know what it is. I don't think I want to know what it is, but um, hey man, you seem to have a very high success rate when it comes to getting to the bag. I know your commissions are crazy. I know they are. The Kirk Cousins is very mid. They pay this man top dollar.
Yeah. So to speak about Mike McCartney, he used to be a QB at Colorado University, the
Mm,
son of Bill McCartney, a member of College Football Hall of Fame who won a national championship with the Buffaloes in 1990. He
mm.
was then in he was then in an executive role in the NFL, working as a director of player personnel for the Eagles. Right before the turn of the century, he later left the league to move for director of football operations for Priority Sport, a rare career path from the NFL to a major representation firm. He had a stint as a pro scout in the NFL, both for the Eagles and the Bears. He calls his father his biggest mentor. Mike McCartney is an NFLPA certified agent for Vayner Sport. And no, he has nothing to do with the Dallas Cowboys coach Mike McCarthy, besides the similarities in their last names. So wait, Vayner Sport, like Gary Vaynerchuk?
No, I don't think it's Gary Vee. I think that's just nah, I'm pretty sure it's not Gary Vee. But regardless, this gentleman here, I don't know who else he represents, but if I was an athlete, I want to be represented by him. He will get you paid. I've never torn my Achilles. I've never torn my Achilles, right? So imagine tearing your Achilles and then getting more money afterwards.
I don't know how, but I just did some further research. It is owned by Gary Vee,
It is.
and the CEO and co-founder is his brother AJ Vaynerchuk.
Oh, it is.
So I guess that kind of explains how some money gets funneled back from the league to certain personnel that we know in the real world.
That part.
But 180 million for years. I think by the end of his career, it said he would have made close to $500 million. It's like 441 million
Let me get that number for you. At the conclusion of this contract,
or 411.
yeah, 411. Speaking 62 million next year alone,
Yeah,
coming off 30 million last year. Well, 30 million this past year, and 40 million the year before that, with no playoff wins.
he's never won a playoff game.
No,
So when you're paying Kirk Cousins, what are you paying for?
I don't know.
So you're telling me Lamar Jackson has more playoff wins than Kirk Cousins in his
That's
whole life?
what I'm telling you. Yes,
And
yes.
people question whether Lamar is worth his money, but Kirk Cousins is like a golden retriever in the league. I'm not
I
understanding.
don't. I don't know.
I don't get it. I don't understand. Is there
There's
something I'm not
some.
understanding?
There's some type of. I don't know what goes on behind in these negotiation rooms, but like for some reason, this man gets paid absurd amount of money. He is. You know who he is? He is the NFL Gordon Hayward.
Hmm.
He's Gordon Hayward.
I can see that.
They both get paid dumb bread for no reason,
How much does Gordon Hayward make? Is Gordon Hayward still getting paid?
brother.
Oh, Gordon Hayward's on a 147 million for 4 years. Yep. Yeah, that's a accurate.
They are the same person, yo.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, who's Gordon Hayward's agent?
Let's see. Mike Bartlestein.
So yeah. If your agent's named Mike, you're probably gonna get some good money.
Oh, Mark Bartlestein. Close
Either
enough.
oh Mark. Yeah, so hey man, I don't know, but both these gentlemen get paid absurd amounts of cash for no reason. This man declined the player option and then got paid more. How? I don't get it. I'm not hating. I'm just confused.
Hey, speaking of people who are getting to the money, Baker Mayfield, talk to us about his deal.
You know, as a former #1 overall pick, I think he's underwhelmed on the #1 overall pick aspect of things. But as a football player, hey, I call him Mr. Left for Dead, you know? Went from Cleveland, got hurt, they washed their hands with him, moved him to Carolina. Nobody succeeds there. So that was just not that was just bound for failure. Went to the Rams for it was a nap. I can't even describe that Rams stint. And then somehow ended up at Tampa Bay. I was concerned because it was like he couldn't really beat out Kyle Trask. It was like a real competition with Kyle Trask. But he ended up winning the job, took them to the playoffs. They were a few plays away from making the NFC Championship, and now he's re-signed. That Texas connection with Mike Evans, and now it's standing firm, and now he's the guy in Tampa Bay for the foreseeable future.
I think this is a good re-signing by the Buccaneers. It helped ensure that they kept Mike Evans on their roster as well.
Right,
And Baker, he made a bit of a playoff run this year when everybody was expecting him to do quite literally absolutely nothing. So
right.
it seems like he's kind of had that career revival, like you're saying, Mr. Left for Dead. So as he's essentially having, I wouldn't say it's like a second career, but his career's revived and he's still under 30, right? I don't consider him a draft bust. Do you?
I think I wouldn't call him a draft bust either. I'll just say he didn't really find his. Yeah, I mean, I guess a very unlucky. Yeah, unlucky. I feel like he's in between. On the scale of number one overall picks, you have Jamarcus Russell and you have like Cam Newton, and he's somewhere in between that range.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's where I would see. That's how I would see it.
Who
Even
is,
Cam.
wait, can you explain who Jamarcus Russell is? I don't know who that is.
So Jamarcus Russell was a very talented quarterback at the LSU. I think he played for 3 years, maybe 4 years at LSU. Very, very super athlete. The Raiders took him first overall, and nothing much else successful came out of that since then. I think he won 3 games in his 4 years as a starter, and it was just bad. He was out the league before you knew he was out the league.
It says here he only played 3 seasons. What happened?
He was overweight. He was drinking a lot of lean,
Oh,
and yeah, it was just a bad marriage.
geez. Wow. But when you look at Baker Mayfield, I mean, I think it's reasonable to say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years you consider him to be one of those quarterbacks in the realms of like not necessarily like a Matt Stafford, but a couple notches down, closer to like a
Well,
Lions QB,
Jared Goff.
like a step down from Jared Goff
Okay.
because he played well and he can clearly throw the ball. And now that he's gonna have some consistency on a team and he doesn't feel like he has to essentially fight for his job, we'll see if he's able to really produce in this format.
Would you suggest it's kind of like a sense of like complacency? Because like, if you look at Antonio Brown, when he was on short-term deals, he played fairly decent. But when you gave him long-term money, he crashed out. So, do you think this is a potential sign? I know that they're completely two different people, but like, do you think there's any semblance of that with Baker Mayfield?
I think for Baker Mayfield, it's kind of like a reverse chip on your shoulder. Like, because he went drafted number one overall, and there was all this pressure on him for him to succeed in a draft that was loaded with QBs such as Lamar, Josh Allen. There was a couple other guys in there that aren't even relevant in the league anymore. But for him,
Josh Rose was in that draft. Yeah.
since he's essentially had a fall from grace, I think the chip for him that's on his shoulder that'll keep him from being complacent is people are counting him out and looking at him as, oh, you're washed up and he's not even 30 years old.
Well said.
You know, a lot of people look at him as if he is a draft bust, even though he's still having a career and he's in the playoffs. And he knows that for him and the pedigree that he wants to achieve, being a former Heisman winner, he knows he has to ball out and have a big impact.
He's won the playoff game with two different teams, and he's won the playoff game with two different teams, and he's played for four Browns, Panthers, Rams. Yeah, four different teams in a 5 year span.
Yeah. So by all regards, I think he's more of in the same boat as Lions QB. Wow, you just
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff, as in you were essentially cast away from the team that drafted you. It's more similar to that type of situation, and it's the same reason that Jared Goff is gonna ball this year for the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
They know that essentially the league can leave you for dead. So they know the onus is on them to build that legacy for themselves, and they know that they're more than capable. There's a reason they both went number one overall, and it's
Mm-hmm.
time for them to put the league on notice and show that they're here to stay.
Well said. Well said.
But talk to me about Russell Wilson with the lowest deal in terms of what the contract was.
Well, as you all may recall, he was initially in Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle traded him to Denver, right? Cool. I'm a Bronco. Broncos country, let's ride. All right, so they rode to the bank and gave this man, let's see, let me get the contract. It was a lot of money, right? It was a lot of money. I want to say it was like $154 million, something like that.
Mhm.
Let me get the exact $245 million.
That's what the
Uh,
Seahawks gave him
that's what the Broncos gave him after they traded for him. He signed for 245.
for 5 years.
I believe so, yeah.
So how long was he supposed to be on the Broncos if they didn't cut him?
So yeah, had he not been cut by Denver, he would have been a Bronco, I believe, until like 2027, maybe even longer. Let me see.
Oh, it's saying till 2028.
Yeah, 2028.
This is
But
a lot of money.
no, not even 2029. He would have been a free agent in 2029. And yeah, unfortunately, the Broncos experiment did not work out. He had Nathaniel Hackett year one. Nathaniel Hackett is awful. In
Mhm.
year two, he just didn't mesh well with Sean Payton. Uh,
Tom Payton wanted him out of there. Let's be
yes,
clear.
it was a bad marriage. Like I said, the Walton family gave Sean Payton as much control as you can have.
Mhm.
And he said, this guy is not my QB, and therefore he went to Cancun. So we thought. Um, so yeah, all that dead money, they still gotta pay him $85 million.
Mhm.
And they were like, yeah, avoid your injury guarantees. We talked about this before. And essentially, it was just like, yeah, Broncos said F you, and they got rid of him. So, at least so we thought. Very shortly after that, the Steelers swooped in, signed them to a nice, cheap little 1 year deal, $1.2 million.
Are they?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go ahead. Finish
The
your.
irony is the Omar Khan, the GM, literally said last week he has full faith in Kenny Pickett. So I don't know if they want to sit him for a year. I don't know if they're trying to motivate him to beat out a vet. I don't know what the objective is, but assuming that Russell Wilson will be the starting quarterback in Pittsburgh, I like the signing, and they should be in a good spot.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at the signing for $1 million, that's nothing. You essentially got a veteran QB who can kind of help mold the team and kind of in a sense, it gives you a year to kind of work on Kenny Pickett while you let a seasoned QB come in there and work with the team. It'll also let Kenny Pickett have somebody to kind of guide him. I know it's very
Right.
important for those veteran QBs to be there. I did watch the Club Shay Shay interview with what's his name? Browns QB Johnny
Johnny
Manziel.
Manziel, Johnny Manziel.
Johnny
Oh,
Manziel.
you did.
Yeah,
Thank you. It was a good watch.
yeah, it was a good watch. And one thing that he was talking about was how the impact of veteran QBs can really help mold younger players,
Mm,
and help them build up that confidence in themselves and in the league, even if a team isn't winning. So
mm.
I hope that's their plan here is to build up Kenny Pickett or something of that regard. Kind of mix him in for a couple of snaps here and there so that eventually they can have Kenny Pickett long term as a starter because respectfully, Russell Wilson is 36. And I know for a QB, essentially the shelf life of a QB is until their early 40s, but
Right.
it seems that Russell Wilson is already past his prime from the way he runs
Right.
things, right? He's already
Right.
won a Super Bowl. He's already lost a Super Bowl. Um, so he's due for essentially money until 2029. And he essentially doesn't have to play another snap of football. I think he's simply just playing for the sake of he wants to keep playing football at this point.
Right.
Um, and the more and more I look at this Russell Wilson contract, 5 years, $250 million. The Broncos, is that GM currently still there?
Good question.
Is the GM who signed that contract still there? Because if he is, he shouldn't be there.
Is it still George Patton? Let me see.
$250 million for 5 years with a 50 million signing bonus for Russell Wilson.
Oh, it is George Patton. He's been the GM since 2021, and he currently is still holding that position.
So they don't have a personnel issue or a coaching issue. They have a GM issue because this contract should have never went through. This is ridiculous.
Hmm.
250 million. This is honestly probably crazier than Kirk Cousins' contract, if you ask me.
Well, let's see. He hired Nathaniel Hackett and then passed on the likes of Kevin O'Connell, Brian Daboll, and Mike McDaniel. If you look at the Giants had a down year, but if you look at the Dolphins and the Vikings, not too bad right now. And they all made it to the playoffs. The Giants, Vikings, and Dolphins, and the Broncos didn't. And then they traded for Russell Wilson, and then gave him this mega contract, and all this led to a 5-12 season.
Hmm.
And then they hired Sean Payton, and there was some improvement. They went 8-9. They got blown out by 50, and now, yeah, they cut Russell Wilson, and now the fans are not too sure what they think of George Patton, Payton.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too sure what I think about him either, honestly. When you look at everything that's been going on with the Broncos, when was the last time they had a consistent quarterback? They haven't really had one since Super Bowl 50.
Oh yeah, don't worry. I got something in the works to highlight that. Don't worry. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that though. I'm working on something.
Okay, all right, bet. All right, but let's talk about some of these running backs, man. Saquon Barkley to the Philadelphia Eagles. Talk to me.
Well, he did go to Penn State. Y'all know how I feel about Penn State.
You know,
But
this
anyway, he did go there, and now he's back in Pennsylvania, wearing green instead of Nittany Lion blue. I was shocked, but I get it. I think he's on the operating the DeAndre Swift role, and that pairing with Jalen Hurts with Kellen Moore's offense. I like it. I like it. I think the Eagles are definitely trying to revamp their offense, get back into Super Bowl form, but we'll see if they actually do that.
so now essentially the Eagles have essentially the heaviest squatting running back and quarterback duo in the NFL.
Yeah, leave that. Yeah, I mean,
You know, they call Saquon Saquads, and you already know about Jalen Hurts squad.
well said. I mean, hey, I hope it works.
But essentially, it looks like are the Eagles saying here, even after the season DeAndre Swift had, was DeAndre Swift not it?
Bro, I guess not, because they paid Saquon more than DeAndre Swift got from Chicago, which
Mhm.
is interesting. Um, yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Hmm. That's very interesting.
And then when I look at this deal, right, I know that a big thing essentially will be for the Eagles to revamp that O line. They need a new center.
Right.
Their center's retired. Well, I think Fletcher Cox retired too. So they
Yeah, they
need
do.
some new D linemen also. All right. So all of a sudden, you've had very consistent. In my opinion, the Eagles have had very good offensive lines and defensive lines. They've had very good career long players. Um, so we know that Saquon Barkley is an injury risk. If you don't have good protection, you're essentially gonna lose out on somebody you just paid.
Right.
What do you think is their next move? Who do you think they're gonna be hunting? Because free agency has just started. Or do you
They
think they're
do.
gonna go the draft route?
They do have. I think they extended Landon Dickerson, which is, I believe, one of their guards. I mean,
Yeah, you're right. Lendon Dickerson, guard,
yeah,
4 years, 84 million.
yeah, with a 50 million, with a $20 million signing bonus. So yeah, they already extended one of their guards, and I believe Jordan Mailata is still under contract there for a little bit. So they have enough pieces in that offensive line to maintain for some time. And knowing the Eagles are probably gonna take one in the as a as a day two pick and just rebuild it piece by piece.
Okay. So when you look at the Eagles now and what they're doing, um, do you think that they're setting themselves up for a lengthy playoff run next year?
Mm. That defense is where my concern lies. You know, there were trade rumors around Hassan Reddick.
Mhm.
We don't know Darius Slay's gonna come back. We don't know if James Bradbury can play football well. They just lost Kevin Byard. Shaq Leonard's old. It's a very well on paper it sounds amazing, but
Mhm.
we just don't know if they still got it like that.
We'll definitely have to wait and see. I definitely think that something could potentially shake, but they're definitely on the right track. A lot of moves have to go their way, but it definitely looks like their front office is more than willing to make the moves and make them quickly.
Right.
Speaking of quick moves that were happening, let's talk about Josh Jacobs to the Green Bay Packers.
As a Zamir White shareholder, I love this news because now Zamir White will be the projected RB1. So awesome. But on the Josh Jacobs side of things, I don't know why he did this. I really don't know. I really don't know.
Really, talk to me.
He so up until the start of this past season, he was trying to get his extension, right? Vegas didn't give him the money, and he got his money from Green Bay, right? 48 million, right?
Mhm.
Wrong. He's on a 1 year deal with three option years.
Excuse me?
Yeah. So it's a 4 year deal. Only 1 year has guaranteed money. And the other 3 years are dart throws.
So explain how that works. How does this 3 year option work?
So essentially, as far as guarantees are concerned, after year one, none of the money is guaranteed.
So he could get cut after the first year and he'd get $0 from the
He
contract.
would he would get about 12 million or whatever he agreed to at signing, which is yeah, 12.5 million. Yeah, he'll get his signing bonus. He's due to make 14.8 million in the first year of that contract. They can cut him after that year.
Why
And
would he make this deal?
they would only eat they would eat less than 10 million in dead cap if they cut him after year one. I don't know what prompted him to make this deal. I tried to find the logic behind it. It's not there. I'm very concerned. I just don't see the I guess he's building on himself,
Yeah.
but 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 damn, like wow.
So what's up with this like $600,000 workout bonus I'm seeing here? What is that?
Believe if you like attend mandatory workouts, OTAs, stuff like that, 'cause some players skip out on that.
Hmm.
So, you get compensated for attending OTAs, training camps, mini camps, all the likes.
Hmm.
Um, let's see if I can get some further explanations on it. But yeah, that's pretty much it from my understanding. To explain further, yeah, off-season workouts. It's about $300 a day. So
Mm.
do the math there. It's a little bit more than 300, a little bit more than $300 a day.
Okay. So do you think that this was a good move for Josh Jacobs or a better move for the Packers?
The Packers like took Josh Jacobs to the cleaners. It's like, yeah, if you cook, we'll bring you back. And now you have to keep cooking. Because at any moment we could pull the chair and you had nowhere you had nowhere to sit. I think Josh Jacobs is betting on himself a little bit too much, but I mean, hey,
I
it's
mean,
like,
he's young. He's only been in the league for 4 years.
yeah, it's a very it's a nice structured offense. You have a franchise QB, and you have a lot of young wide receiver talent there. So, and Josh Jacobs doesn't hurt. I just don't know if it's gonna help him in the future, though.
Mm. So do you think them cutting Aaron Jones and going for Josh Jacobs here made sense? Aaron Jones was doing well last season, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah, he's old, and I think he's old and he's injury prone. So I think it was all unnecessary, and it happened finally. I mean, he landed on his feet. He ended up in Minnesota. I do like that signing. But yeah, the direction the Packers are going in, he didn't need to be there anymore.
Why are people acting like Aaron Jones is old? He's only 29 years old.
That's old.
Oh, why? How's that? Why is that considered old?
Okay, so as a running back, right? You take a lot of hits.
Hmm.
Your shelf life is around 2.5 years. I know that the them guys definitely exceed that 2.5 year apex, but all those hits, and then you get a knee injury here, hip injury there. It's pretty old.
Hmm. I mean, when I'm looking at things now and the way that they're essentially shaken out, it looks like the running back market is kind of rebounding.
A little bit, a little bit.
These guys are getting paid on
Yeah.
average 10, well, 8 to 12 million a year. That's looking like the average.
You see, yes. My only counter to that is I feel like there's a lot of language in these contracts. So it's like we can just move off you.
Mm,
So the money is there, but you gotta get it. And if you don't get it, that's on you.
okay. Okay. Well, speaking of getting to the money, let me talk about a sounding that I'm very happy to see. Derrick Henry to the Baltimore Ravens.
Hmm.
Um, Derrick Henry, speaking directly to you here. You're probably not going to see this, but it doesn't matter. Welcome. We're glad to have you. I know you stiffed on Marcus Peters, and it was very embarrassing a few years ago. For the Ravens defense. I hope you bring that same energy. You play tough football. You play Ravens football. Um, God willing, no injuries. Knock on wood. And let's get to it. Um, we like to run the ball, and you like to run. Let's do it. But to talk about his contract, Derrick Henry, 2 years, $16 million. We let Gus Edwards go. Edwards went to the Chargers. He signed like a 2 year, 2 year contract. Um, so right now it's looking like we'll have Derrick Henry and Keaton Mitchell, and there's no word on Gus Edwards currently. Um, Lamar is very happy to be paired with Derrick Henry. Having a strong running back like that coming out of the backfield. If you thought the running back room was formidable with Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell, J.K. Dobbins, and not even going to include that other guy because we signed up for the postseason essentially. This is taking it to essentially another level. I think this is the best quarterback. This is the best running back we've had since in a while, at least since like 2018. Honestly,
Hmm.
I'm trying to think who are the other running backs we've had.
Mark Ingram,
He's better than Mark Ingram for sure.
J.K. Dobbins, as you said before. Terrence Ross, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, Tyson Williams. Y'all had a lot of running backs.
This is the best running back we've had in a while.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's a great investment. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. It seemed like it was going to happen at some point. I think it's been delayed for a while. I do think he's a bit ripe in age, but that's y'all like ripe guys, so it makes sense. Yeah, it seems yeah he plays like a Raven, and now he's a Raven, so it makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, Derrick Henry, he's 30, so I mean, hey, I think it's gonna be great to see. Nothing but good things to say about him. Tony Pollard to the Tennessee Titans. This was unexpected. Because I was hearing coming out of the Cowboys that they wanted to keep Tony Pollard long term. So what happened here, Dan?
I think he just wanted to go home. He did with the college at the University of Memphis, and I believe he's also a Memphis native. Am I making that up? No, I'm not. He was born in Memphis. So yeah, he just wanted to go home. And he went home.
Mhm.
That's all there is really to it, in my opinion.
Okay. He just wanted to go home, so he went home.
Yeah,
Hmm. What do you think this says that the Cowboys weren't able to retain him? Does this say anything?
they're about to draft the running back, and he just well, Tony Pollard, because the Titans just drafted their running back this past year in the Tajay Spears out
Mhm.
of Tulane, and now you signed Tony Pollard. So I'm pretty sure you want to. I'm seeing a lot of committees being formed in running backs.
Mhm.
So I guess Dallas has some belief in Deuce Vaughn, and they're probably gonna pair Deuce Vaughn with another rookie, so they can save money in their backfield and have two young guys there, and then use that production to carry the run game. No pun intended.
Hmm. Okay. Well, salute to Tony Pollard. Salute to you getting your money. Another guy getting to the money, Austin Eckler, almost $12 million with
Yeah.
your home team, the Commanders. I didn't say your team. I said your home team.
Oh. I just had to. This is the main one who was advocating for running backs to get paid, holding Zoom calls and all this stuff. And yeah, he signed the. Did he sign the one in the possible, or is this like an extra 2 year deal? Let's see. Um, I like the hire, but then again, he's not the best running back. Like he plays the position well, but like he's he might be cooked. But if he's not cooked, I love the signing.
Why do you think he might be
Um,
cooked?
so he's had two injuries and he's almost 30.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, they signed him for about 4 million. Got $3 million signing. It's a buy low, very very nice buy low. They need that, and I take that back. Pairing him with Brian Robinson doesn't sound too bad. So I like it, but I don't know how successful it's going to be.
Hmm. Now, with all the moves that the Commanders are making, do you think that it's a basically guaranteed that in the first round they're going for a QB, but do you
Yep.
think they might pull something to try and see if they can get Caleb Williams out of this? Because as we've seen so far, Justin Fields is still a bear.
As of right now, he is. I think trading up is definitely one of their primary tasks, but I do hear there's some ties to Drake May, so that's not a bad consolation prize. I feel like if you're gonna sign Cliff Kingsbury to be your OC, you might as well get his quarterback, but at the same time you don't have to. So it's just a matter of really, do they want to? It's like this, right? Do you want to give up all that capital and move up one spot
Mhm.
to take Caleb, or do you want to just go to war with Drake May? It's tricky.
Mm. I don't know. I think the big thing for me is when I hear the name Drake May, that just doesn't sound like a generational QB.
Hmm.
Like, what UNC QB has been generational?
Well, the only three UNC QBs I can give you are Drake May, Sam Howell, and Mitch Trubisky. And
And
well, they all went. Well, Sam Howell fell to the fifth round, but the year before he was they were talks of him being the number one overall pick the year before he entered. But yeah, UNC guys just don't really do it for me. I say if they hit on their quarterback, they're gonna be a 6 to 8. They're gonna be like a 6 to 8 wins. I don't know. I take that back. If they hit on the quarterback, I feel like they're gonna be 9-8-1. I think they'll find a way to get a tie. And if they don't hit on the quarterback, I think they go six to 8 wins based on what they've done so far.
I'm not saying by any means Drake May is a bad QB. I just think that UNC, when you think University of North Carolina, you think basketball, you think Michael Jordan. Would you go to a basketball? Would you go to a football school to go get a basketball player?
Well, I mean, Anthony Edwards went to Georgia.
It's different. That's the SEC. We're talking the ACC, right?
Here we go with the goalposts.
SEC, they do both.
All
You
right,
got you
let me
got
see.
LSU women's basketball, football. They do both.
Okay. Let me see. ACC schools.
And Alabama, football and basketball, they do both.
There was a prospect that went to Georgia Tech. I can't think of his name right now. And then Miami, Louisville. I mean,
Are you talking about Megatron?
yeah, but I'm trying to think of the basketball player that came out of Georgia Tech.
Let me see.
Well, I'll do Louisville then. Donovan Mitchell came out of Louisville. Lamar Jackson came out of Louisville.
Louisville. You said Donovan Mitchell went to Louisville?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a school that does both.
Okay. So,
UNC UNC just hasn't. I go off a track record. UNC hasn't shown me a track record of QBs that have been able to generate. And who knows? Drake may be different, you know. But if I'm the Commanders, I'm definitely going with either Caleb Williams or Jaden Daniels. Drake May just seems like a kind of an NPC to me.
wow. They say that, I mean, if you look at their profiles, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams are both very small. So I don't know if that isn't the ideal conductor you want to have in your offense. As opposed to Drake May, he's a prototypical 6'3", 6'4",
Yeah.
built. He's using comparisons to that guy in LA who would not be named.
Wait, guy in
So
LA. Who?
Yeah, he pushed the Chargers for the quarterback. That guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
your favorite quarterback, Justin Herbert?
Yeah. So like, he's getting those comparisons as far as profile, and it will be a nice redemption for the Commanders because they took Chase Young over that guy you just said a few minutes ago. So
Hmm.
maybe they can get the dire version of that guy you just said a few minutes ago in Drake May. So only time will tell.
I mean, the devil isn't in the details, but even when I'm looking at his collegiate stats, his best year was 2022. In 2023, he had a downtick, and he's entering the draft, and he's still slated to be number two. Yes, Jaden Daniels is undersized, but I always go high ceiling over high base,
Hmm.
right? Because you can coach somebody to a high ceiling, but a high base is gonna just be there. It doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna get better. And who
That's it.
knows? I may be wrong.
I can't. Well, based off that analysis, it's hard to say you're wrong. I think that was well said, well constructed, but only time will tell.
Yeah, absolutely. Only time will tell. DeAndre Swift to the Chicago Bears. What did you think about this? It looks like the Bears are trying to build around something.
Yeah. They're spending money on both sides of the ball, which is great. They're
Hmm.
not a bad team. So I feel like that's where the oh man, what do we do? Because it's like Justin Fields can play football, not the best, but he can play football. But
Hmm.
it's like so many changes are going on in that franchise. You can't just pop Justin Fields there. I don't think he'll be the starter there. I think they might carry him into the season and try to move him mid-season, but they're gonna draft the QB.
Where at this point do you think Justin Fields goes?
Man, I don't know if Vegas is in the running, but I'll just put them there.
I was thinking Vegas too.
And then I'll also just say, I'm so sorry. I can't really, it's hard to tell, man. I had Atlanta at first, but Kirk just signed there.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll sit behind Rodgers for a few years. I
and
don't
the
think that,
Jets.
yeah, I don't think the Jets had that much faith in Zach Wilson. So maybe they just try to take another quarterback from that draft class and just mold him instead. I know that is probably like very, very out of there, but I just threw that out there just as a possibility.
Oh, I was gonna say New England, but they just got Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, and they're gonna draft the guy. So
Yeah. Who? I'm trying to think who.
yeah, he might be.
Giants. They got Drew Lock, but
Yeah, you see all these like Peter Patter signings, and the Jets also signed Tyrod Taylor. So it's like all these pitter patter signings is like there's only so many places you can be. Not many teams carry four quarterbacks. So might be in the UFL soon. Just saying.
you think Justin Fields will be in the UFL?
Hey. Either that or the Bears trade them once one of these QBs get injured. Knock on something. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that he finds somewhere to land because Justin Fields is by no means a bad player. I think he just had a bad deal of things with the Bears. Um, yeah. Let's talk these wide receivers. Darnell Mooney, Falcons, 39 million 3 years. Talk to me.
Um I have a love-hate relationship with Darnell Mooney.
Mm.
It's like when he's not playing on my fantasy team, he eats. But when he is on my fantasy team, he gets hurt. So it's tricky because I think he's a good player. Um, I like him in Atlanta. Him and Drake. That Falcons offense looks good. Looks good. You know, you have Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and now you put Kirk Cousins there at QB. It's like there's a nice little a semblance of weapons there. The defense is stellar. So I like the signing. Very underrated player. I know he had an injury in 2022. He kind of bounced back from that this past year. A little underutilized, but I feel like he'll find his second run in Atlanta.
Okay, okay. I mean, with the signings, a wide receiver and a QB signing is always typically a good sign. I don't know how good the Falcons will do. I predict probably a 500 season next year. You know, Kirk Cousins, I expect average results, Good high flying football, but average results at the end of the day.
Right.
Um, Gabe Davis to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's a cone. He's been a cone.
You said
So now
you
you
said
just
he's a what?
he's a cone.
A cone.
He
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And so he's just like there.
Hmm.
There's not much he can do, but
Whoa.
he's there.
You don't think
No,
Gabe Davis be balling?
when he feels like it, but the vast majority of the time he'll get a lot of donuts. If you look at his game log, you'll see a lot of zeros.
Let me see.
He's indeed a boomer bust wide receiver, but I just think he is a cone. He's just there.
Yeah, you're not wrong about the zeros.
Yeah,
He oh,
yeah.
I mean, 7 touchdowns this season and 7 touchdowns last season, averaging 17.4 yards per reception.
See, when you look at it in totality, it doesn't look too bad, right?
Yeah.
But when you look at it game by game, it's pretty frustrating, don't you think?
Mm, yeah, I can see that.
So, I mean, I think him going to Jacksonville is they need receiver help. Christian Kirk went down and Trevor Lawrence sucked. And I don't think they're bringing back Calvin Ridley, so he can just step into that role. Calvin Ridley didn't really seem to fit well in Jacksonville anyway, so maybe Gabe Davis may have a little more success there. He also went to Central Florida for college, so he's back in a familiar spot.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. Um, Calvin Ridley still hasn't signed anywhere. Where do you think he will go?
I heard talks about New England. I don't know if those talks have stalled out or what, but if not New England, honestly, hmm, 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 maybe be Minnesota if they can't get this Justin Jefferson thing ironed out. Him and Jordan Addison could be a nice little duo there.
What team do you think can reasonably afford Justin Jefferson at this point?
Well, I envisioned him in the Bengals jersey. I still do. I know there were talks of the Chiefs being in the running. I doubt it.
If the
So
Chiefs get Justin Jefferson, I would actually be like, it's like playing football. It's like playing Madden with VC. Like, can we relax?
yeah, it's I doubt it, but I mean, hey. Additionally, I know that hmm, maybe Green Bay. They need a one. They don't have a one. They have a bunch of twos and threes.
They got
So
what's that guy who's going crazy during the playoffs?
please, I don't want to talk about Romeo Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs, yeah.
I want to. That's another fool's gold wide receiver.
Wait, why is he fool's gold?
Hey, man, do your own research, man. It's just he's fool's gold. Um,
Romeo Dobbs, he's a young guy. He's only 23 years old.
hey, prove me wrong. I would love to see it. But yeah, I know they just drafted Jaden Reed and he balled out immensely. But hey, you can never get too good on the offense. So he had JJ there. That's a nice little three-headed monster. Another spot, maybe even hmm. I know Tennessee could use some help. I know they were looking at T. Higgins before, but maybe they use JJ instead. Or maybe even both. T. Higgins, there's been trade rumors around T. Higgins for a while now. So only time will tell.
That's true. Only time will tell.
As
Um,
far as trades though, earlier today, Deontay Johnson was traded to the Panthers for essentially Dante Jackson, which is a cornerback, and I think also like a third round pick. So a pretty cheap deal. The Panthers stole. I like it a lot. I think Bryce Young is getting help, and that help is in the form of Deontay Johnson now.
I think the Panthers front office has seen that Bryce Young doesn't suck. We just need to actually put pieces around him. So
Right,
I think this is the year that we start to see them try and figure things out in that regard and see what exactly they can make of the situation. And
right.
who knows? We might be looking in like we looking 2 to 3 years down the road. We might see the Panthers making a playoff run. I don't really see
Could
anything
be.
happening in the next immediate year. I think they definitely need to build out that O line, get that boy some protection, figure out some of those coaching situations and things of that nature. But I definitely think that it'll get better. I mean, they got the new head coach, so let's see how things go.
Right.
These interior defensive linemen, these are honestly, I think, the best deals of the whole free agency so far.
Yeah, pass rushers got paid handsomely. Chris Jones bet on himself. He signed a 1 year deal. Missed the first game, won the Super Bowl, and now he's making 158.7 million over the
Mm-hmm.
course of 5 years. Staying within Kansas City, trying to capture that three-peat. Meta Beaks stayed in Baltimore, 4 year, $110 million.
Hey, shout
And
out Matt BK.
yes, sir. And Leonard Williams, he was traded from the Giants to the Seahawks. Finished out the season there and read up 3 years, $64.5 million. So a lot of good money, a lot of good money.
Absolutely. The D linemen definitely are winning in this free agency. Let's talk a little bit about some of these linebackers. This one really hurt my heart. Patrick Queen to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Former Raven, going directly to the ops. I understand, get your money, but dang, you had to go to the direct ops, like
Yeah.
division rival.
Yeah.
Like,
Geno Stone went to the Bengals too. So
I mean, that doesn't hurt as much, but to the Steelers, the only team that beat us twice last season was the Steelers, right?
Mm, telling.
I mean, granted, they really only beat us once because the second game we pulled our starters. Don't make that face at me.
Y'all lost. I'm sorry.
I guess it was the last game of the season. We were already locked in number one seed. So, but what do you think of this Patrick Queen signing to the Steelers? I mean, ultimately, I think it's good for the Steelers, but let me hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I like it. I need to see what this depth chart is looking like because there's a lot of talent on that defense. If the pieces I think are there are still there, it's very loaded there. I said there. Wow, wow. But the likes of Joey Porter Jr. in the secondary, TJ Watt on the edge. You have Miles Killebrew, um, Brandon Roberts. So many different players there. Adding Patrick Queen. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it. It's a very good signing. 3 year, $41 million. So the future is bright.
Future is definitely bright. And speaking of another linebacker getting paid, Frankie Louvu by the Commanders, 3 years, $31 million. What do you think about that?
It was cool. Uh, I feel like there's this weird relationship with the Panthers that isn't all the way dissolved yet.
What do you mean?
Because when Ron Rivera was hired, he essentially injected all the Panthers' identity into the into the Washington football team at the time,
Mhm.
signing signing Taylor Heineke, Kyle Allen, Curtis Samuel, signing was Thomas Davis there? Thomas Davis might not have been there, but just bringing all these different Panther omens into Landover. And now it seems like we're gonna a little bit more than that.
Yeah, I mean,
The only caveat I'll say is Frankie Louvu is not a Ron Rivera guy. He was drafted after Ron was fired, but he is an ex-Panther, so I just find that a little interesting.
yeah, I mean, this deal he got shows that, especially coming off of, shows that here he played 2022, 2023. What what happened during 2023? Stats aren't here.
Let me see around for
Can't be using Wikipedia, I see.
when I was looking before, yeah, for the calm numbers, nothing crazy.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything crazy either.
Yeah, but actually, okay. He had over 120 tackles, 5.5 sacks. So good numbers, good numbers.
Mhm.
And he had 7 sacks and a pick the previous year, a pick six to be exact. So good numbers. He's playing well. I just hope he can maintain that in Washington.
Yeah. Uh, I'm definitely seeing the big trend of there's teams that are definitely out here making moves, and there are teams that are definitely not. Some of the big teams I see out here making moves right now are the Texans, Bills, Lions, Jags, and Dolphins. And at this rate, the Commanders too, right?
Yeah.
Which of these teams that are making the biggest moves do you think are actually having the best impact on the future of their team versus who do you think is out here just throwing darts?
I would say that the Texans, Commanders, and yeah, I'll go there. The Texans and the Commanders, and I guess the Bills are the most like making moves with purpose in my eyes. I think the Bills are about to get ready to throw some darts. I heard they're making a lot of cap space for something. I just don't know what it is. Maybe draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And the Texans, you guys are your franchise guy. You exceed their expectations year one. You build on that by showing up everything else, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're doing.
And then you got these teams that are not moving at all, such as essentially the Cowboys, Chiefs, and Chargers. Of these teams, what do you think is the idea here? I've seen a lot of the Cowboys fan base is kind of looking at the Cowboys like you said, we're in win now mode, but you're not making any moves. We're losing key starters. What's going on here for these teams?
I feel like they're perfect for the draft. You know, not sometimes you can't spend all the money with your free agents. You got to prep for the rookies. And I think some of these franchises, like Dallas in particular, are keeping their eyes on that.
Okay, bet. I mean, as more stuff comes out with the free agency, we're definitely gonna be covering more of that. Um, we gotta cut this episode short because we both gotta get out of here. Um, we'll double up on the hot takes and cold facts on Friday's episode. But thank you guys for listening to this episode of the Fever Pitch podcast. If you're not already following us on social media, please check us out on Instagram at Fever Pitch Pod. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe in the link tree. Submit your hot takes and questions. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time.
Y'all take care. God bless.
Peace.